Okay, we're ready to make jicama fries. These are really, really delicious, and they're also a little bit dangerous because you can eat a whole dehydrator full in one sitting, and you really don't want to do that. So, not that it'll make you feel anywhere close to eating cooked food, let alone cooked food fries, but yeah, it's still a little decadent. So, but they're really, really delicious if you have a little bit of discipline and willpower and can just eat a few at a time. They're amazing. They're totally amazing, and I actually prefer them more than the cooked French fries. So these are jicama. Jicama, it's a root vegetable, and it's something like a potato, a little bit more crunchy inside. I'll show you. What we want is 4 cups of jicama, and I wasn't sure if 2 or 3 would equal 4 cups, but give or take a cup and you're going to be fine. So we may have closer to 5 cups, and I'm just going to make it all because I have it and I'll use them. So we're going to slice these up, and we're going to make a bit of a marinade sauce that we're going to mix it into with some sun-dried tomatoes. And we're going to grind these in our blender. You can also use a little portable coffee grinder if you have that, or a spice grinder. Just put them in and process it, and it'll come into little tiny bits. And it's really pretty because it looks like little red flecks all over your French fries. So some ground sun-dried tomatoes, a quarter cup, and that's a quarter cup packed, and a quarter cup of olive oil. We want a teaspoon of salt, Celtic, Himalayan, really good quality salt. A teaspoon of onion powder, a teaspoon of garlic powder, half a teaspoon of cayenne, or to taste. You can do less if you want, put in less if you want. A half a teaspoon of cumin and a half a teaspoon of chili powder. So I am going to start with the tomatoes, sun-dried tomatoes. And I'm going to use my Vitamix just to blend these up. Now these ones are, I should show you this actually before I start, just a little side note that these are fairly hard. Some of them are a little bit softer, and the harder one, actually this is one time when stale sun-dried tomatoes work really well, because when they're hard they process up and grind up into little bits easier. But the other one should work fine too. Okay, so what we have are little tiny bits of sun-dried tomatoes, and we're going to put that in our bowl. I'm going to clear off my board to put my bowl over here. I'm going to use my favorite utensil, spatula, to get as much of the sun-dried tomato powder into my bowl as I can. Okay, there we have sun-dried tomato powder, or flakes. To that, I'm going to add a quarter cup of olive oil, and then the salt and spices. 1 teaspoon of salt, 1 teaspoon of garlic powder. If you prefer, you can just chop very finely a garlic clove. 1 teaspoon onion powder. Okay, to our 1/2 teaspoons. 1/2 teaspoon of chili powder. 1/2 teaspoon of cumin. And 1/2 teaspoon or to taste of cayenne. And I'm just going to use a spoon and blend it all together. And this is making the sauce that our jicama fries are going to get coated with before they go in the dehydrator. Okay, that's it. Let me just set that aside. Wait for our fries to be cut. Jicama, okay, it has a little bit of a cone on the end. Just slice that off. Slice the bottom off. And one interesting thing about jicama is the way it kind of peels. It's a very interesting, it's not, you can almost peel it, hand peel it, instead of using a peeler. You can use a vegetable peeler, but I find sometimes it kind of, the strips get caught in it and you have to pull each strip out of the vegetable peeler. Like, yeah, a knife really works better. Kind of gets caught in the vegetable peeler. Yeah, I find a knife works easier. A little bit of a bad spot on that. And just peel it down all the way around to the other side. So I'll do this to all 3 of them, and then we'll slice them up into fry shapes. Okay, we've got them all peeled, and now we're going to slice them into fries. I'm going to slice them quite thick because the dehydrator really shrinks them a lot. Like not half, not quarter, but an 1/8, like really shrinks them a lot. So don't worry if they're too big, they're going to be just fine. Like this big is great. Okay, there's definitely more like 5 cups, but that's okay. We're just going to do it all. Now, again, the fun part, we're going to get our hands messy. I'm going to take off my rings. And get my hands right in here, nice and messy till I can feel the mixture at the bottom, and keep bringing it up and around. There we go. We just want this sauce to get coated all over them. Bigger bowl wouldn't have been a bad idea, but this is okay. Now we're going to get out, I'm going to rinse my hands off first, but then I'm going to get out some dehydrator trays. I'm not going to use the Teflex on it, I'm going to put them right onto the mesh sheets, and the only problem is it's going to get a little bit red and you'll have to rinse them off after, but it's not too big of a cleanup. It's pretty easy. You can just rinse it off. Okay, enough messing around. Are they pretty? So, I'm going to spread these out. If you have a smaller Excalibur, you'll probably want to spread them out onto the 4 trays. And if you have the larger Excalibur, you can spread it out onto 2 trays. Just as long as they're each separated from each other. I'm just going to do 2 trays here to show you. Just like that, as long as they're not touching, that's great. With your dehydrator set at 115, you're going to put them in for 12 hours. Now, put them on 115, 12 hours, and when you take them out, they are going to look something like these. But these ones, it was the smallest of the Jicamas, and I cut them about half the size. So these ones are going to be a little bit larger, but this is the bowl of the finished Jicama fries. 12 hours later, they look like these. The ones I just made are going to be a little bit bigger just because I cut them about twice as big, and I made them a little bit smaller last night. But they're like fries. They're not crispy. They're, how do I describe it? They have a bit of a crunch to them. It's a little bit different texture than French fries, so it's a little bit getting used to it because they look so much like French fries. You kind of expect that the bite to be the same. Once you get used to them, they absolutely taste better than French fries. They're delicious, but it still satisfies that salty, oily kind of junk food craving that you might get sometimes, and they taste delicious. So enjoy.